In the first two records in Coca-Cola's record series Tips from the Stars, you heard from Whitey Wiedelman regarding the mental aspects and the attitudes of today's modern-day ball players. On this third record, Padre manager Roger Craig talks about what it takes to be a major leaguer, and Dave Winfield talks about hitting. So from the manager of the Padres and the captain of the Padres, here's record number 3 in Coca-Cola's record series Tips from the Stars. Roger, baseball is a game that I guess sees development in children and men at different ages. Does starting young help you be a good ball player? Will it make a major leaguer out of you? In other words, the sooner you start, the better you'll be? Or can you start at 18 and be just as good at 25 as if you started at 10?
No, I think basically you have to start young, and I think the will to play, the desire to play, the incentive has to be there young. It's tough to get this desire when you're 18 or 20 years old, so I would have to say I know I started playing as soon as I could pick up a baseball or whatever type ball I could pick up. I would definitely have to say you would have to start young.
Roger, can you take a good athlete with pride, dedication, and all the things that you need to make it work and make a major league ball player out of him? By that I mean, let's take the best athlete in any school. Can he pretty much become a big league ball player if he has all the things inside that make it work?
I think so, Jerry. The last thing you said is probably the most important thing. If he has the inside makeup, the desire, the will to want to learn to play positions, the intestinal fortitude, all these things you have to have probably more so than ability, because there's a lot of guys that play up here that don't really have great tools. But for instance, Pete Rose, there's a lot of players that have more tools than him, and he's probably one of the greatest ball players that's ever going to live. But and also there's a lot of guys that have great tools that played, they're still playing AAA that could be playing in the major leagues.
Roger, when we talk about young ball players, and we talk about those who, I guess the concept that we have going today is win at all costs. In other words, everything is second to winning. Do you believe this totally, or does it depend on what level you're playing?
I think it definitely depends on what level you're playing. I know I think it's overemphasized in the Little League, the Pony League, the Colt League, up into that. I think when you really want to get into competition is when you get into American Legion and high school baseball, and this is when you start to strive to teach and train players to be professionals, or teach them to have the desire to win ball games. But naturally, as you get in the major leagues or in professional baseball, winning is what it's all about, and you're trained to do this. But also in the rookie leagues or in lower levels of professional baseball, it's more it's emphasized a lot more to train the guys to make them better ball players, and not necessarily win, but to create these ball players and make them players that so eventually they can play in the major leagues.
We see players, and you've seen them, I know you've watched youngsters come up with the Dodgers and with other clubs that you've been with every physical tool imaginable, and yet something is missing. So therefore we've got to say there's more than just physical to being a good ball player or a good athlete. How vital is the mental approach?
Well, to me, the mental approach is over half the battle. The guys that are in the major leagues today have the physical ability, but the mental approach is where you separate the superstars or the good players from the just the average players. Even as a pitcher, the guys with the good mental outlook, the good mental frame of mind, that can go through a grinding 162 game schedule, they're the ones that win your 18 to 25 ball games. The guys that's going to hit 300. The mental aspect of the whole thing, the positive approach, the confidence in yourself, believing you belong. And another situation is a lot of rookies come up and they see in all the Johnny Bitches, Pete Rose, the great ball players, and they wonder if they can play on the same field. I think this is probably another reason that some players don't make it. You have to know and believe you can belong to play here. Sometimes it might take a year, or as a pitcher, it might making one pitch, or an infielder making one particular play to say, I belong here, I'm going to stay because I can play like they can.
Hitting a baseball is a difficult thing to do. Dave Winfield feels the most important aspect is
hand-eye coordination. You have to be able to see the ball coming, understand it. In baseball terms, I mean the spin, the speed, whether it's inside or outside, and then be able to make good back contact. And when you make contact, I think you have to, one other quality is good bat speed is very important. It's not how heavy the bat is, how big it is, how strong you are. It's what you call bat speed. When you make contact, a certain zone behind the baseball, from where you begin the movement of your bat to where you make contact. That zone, if you have good bat speed and make good contact, you can become a good hitter.
It's very interesting that you would say it's not how big or how strong you are. In other words, a little guy can have better bat speed than a big man and be a better hitter then.
Definitely, and if he understands what kind of hitter he should be within the framework of his size, speed, quickness, eye coordination, and things like this, a fellow like a Pete Rose, who isn't the kind of man who can hit a lot of home runs, although he's a strong, husky type person, he will go for the base hit because that's what he's better suited for. He'll try to drop that ball over first base, over shortstop. He won't go for the long ball because I think the harder you swing and the more you put into it, you lose a little bit of concentration, and therefore I think your average over in the long period of time will drop. Subsequently, even a person like myself, if they say you're big and strong and Winfield, you should hit 40 home runs and this type of thing, first of all, I don't think there's anyone that can hit 40 home runs in San Diego Stadium as it is right now. It's too big, so therefore I have to try to be the line drive type of hitter that I am, and once I'm in that groove, I'm the best hitter I can be, a line drive hitter into the alleys.
On side 2 of this record, Dave Winfield and hitting coach Billy Herman continued the discussion on hitting.